Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we are going to continue our discussion on Spring Data MongoDB. So in my previous video we already discussed about Mongo repository and basically the CROD operation, right? How can we insert one record to MongoDB, and we use the geolocation features where we have seen, right, how basically the GeoJSON we can use and location data, the coordinates data, we can store it to MongoDB. Okay, so if you are watching this video, please go ahead and basically watch these previous videos. This is the playlist I have created for Spring Data Mongo, so I will be keep on adding new videos over here. So please do watch this first, and sequentially please watch this video so that you'll understand. Okay, so in today's video we are going to discuss about the query method that we have in Spring Data Mongo or Mongo repository, right? So if you see, not only in Spring Data Mongo, it started with Spring Data JPA, right, where we no need to write this query and all. Okay, so basically this is the official documentation of JPA, where what is query method, right? So if you see here, I'll just post this URL, the documentation in my description also, so you can go ahead and read through it. So even nowadays also I have seen that still people are not using this heavily, right? So if you see, uh, this is called as domain specific language. So what it says, this method itself is enough to prepare the query and do the CROD operation, whatever it is. Or let's say if it is just query, it is a read operation. Let's say if you want to find by last name, right? So if you want to fetch this, usually in Oracle or anywhere, right, if you are not using JPA, what you do? You write the query and you fetch the detail, right? But JPA provide this feature. So even in Spring Data Mongo, we have this feature where find by last name, right? Which means I want to find all the record where last name is this one, or I want to fire a query and wherever last name is, let's say uh, XYZ, whatever it is, I want to see all the records. Similarly, find by first name, find by location, all those things, right? So this is how the query method works. And you don't need to write any implementation method, anything. If you see, right, that is what we have seen. Just semicolon and method declaration is enough. Okay. So this is what the query method in Spring Data Mongo as well as Spring Data JPA. I would rather say in Spring Data JPA. Okay. So without wasting time, let's get into the hands-on and we'll discuss what basically the location data that we have now in our MongoDB, right? So let's go ahead and look at that first, what we'll be doing. So let me open MongoDB Compass, where I think we have been using this, right, since our first video. So our database name is local, which we have seen in our previous video, and we have seen in our previous video we stored all the records here, right? Whatever along with the location data, the coordinates that we have, longitude and latitude. So now we have this model in our Spring Data Mongo entity object, whatever we say, right? So now let's go ahead and try to perform some query based on the query method. Let's say we'll search by type, we'll search by place rank, or we'll search by address type, name, anything, right? So let's go ahead and do that, how we can do that. Okay. Okay, so I'm just using the same thing from the video, right? Starting whatever the application. So we'll continue with that. So if you have not seen that previous video, please go ahead, watch that, and then come back to this one. Otherwise, you will get confused, okay? And you will not be able to follow. So let me go to the repository, right? And I think we had created location repository, but this location repository is empty now because previously in our previous video, we used only save method, right? Which is by default provided by MongoDB, and we don't need to declare that. And that also we have seen. Where we have seen We have seen that in I think list crowd repository, and if you see, this is the method, right? And if I go here, right, this will again invoke the proxy method and all those things, right? So as long as if you are using all the operations query, right, where save all, find all, find by ID, find all by ID, all these are by default it is provided. But if you want to write any other query where you want it is customized query, right, based on your need, in that case you need to specify the query method properly. Okay, so before doing that, first of all you need to understand your model, okay, the domain model. In this case, in our case, it is location. And first let's do one thing. Let's search by name. Excuse me. Okay, so what we'll do, let's see the documentation once again. Here, if you see just find by name, then we need to pass the parameter here, right? Similarly, and return type, it can return list of documents, whatever it is, right? So first thing we have to do is, it might return in our case, list of location, okay? And we have to say find by name, okay? Then string name we have to pass, and let's import list, okay? So let me do one thing. So now that we have added this method, we just have to declare this method, okay? No need to provide any implementation or anything. Now let's go back to our service class, okay? So we have created one service class called as location service. So in this location service, we can just simply mention public list of location, right? And find by location name, okay? And here you need to pass string name. And already a location repository is there. The moment you have added there, right, find by name, automatically here you will see this, and then you need to pass name. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so you have to return this. Okay, let's again go to this particular method and see. So we have written find by. Find by is nothing but one of the query which JPA will understand, and then after find by, whatever the suffix you have here, make sure that name should match with the property name that you have in your domain model. Okay, and here if it is n is in small letter, right, but make sure that it should be in capital letter in your repository. If you see here, it is because it follows camel convention, right? So n is in caps and rest all it should match. Okay, that is what you need to make sure, otherwise it is not going to work, because that is how it is going to form the query and give it to you, right? So let's go ahead to our service class. I think our service also ready. I think we have our controller. So let me just copy paste this, and even here we need to, so let me just specify query, okay? And find by location name. And let's leave it to the same path variable and all these things, but here we need to call find by location name, right? So this is our controller. The first one is here, we were fetching the location data from one of the service, which is third-party service we are using, and then loading it to MongoDB. This was the first method, right? And the other one now that we have created, location v1 query location name, and then we are going to basically fetch all the list of locations with that particular name. Okay, let me restart and let's see. it works, or we might hit some issues also, but let's see. Hopefully it should work. Okay, so in this case, let me just have a duplicate tab over here. Let's go back and see it is location v1, then we need to specify query, okay, query, then the location name. So let's see, we have something in Bhawanipatna. Yeah, we already have with this particular location, right? If you see here, the name is Bhawanipatna here. So let me hit this particular endpoint, right? Yes. So it was able to fetch the record for that particular. And with this name, only one record is there over here, right? That is the reason we could see only one record. And let's see. So if you see, right, I have enabled the debug logging, okay, for Mongo template. Right, maybe in my another video where I will explain how Mongo works, right? Mongo client, then on top of that, Mongo template will be there, and all the operations is being done by Mongo template. But I'll explain in another video, okay? Let's don't get into that discussion now. So what I have done here, I have added this particular logging log level to debug for Mongo template so that we can see, right, what is happening behind the scene. And if you see here, find using query name colon Bhawanipatna. So this is nothing but the query in MongoDB exactly, because it is not SQL, right? It is NoSQL. So I'll just copy as is, and if I go over here, and this is the place where we can query, right? So I have put this, and let's find. See, we could see that result, right? So this is what exactly in MongoDB, right? Query is simple key value format. Name should be this one, just in JSON. You have to put it and find. This is how query is also very simple. So nowadays MongoDB or any NoSQL, right? It is very popular and everybody is using because of this simplicity, simple key value format, and performance is very much faster. So if I do that, right, I search it, and if I go over there, explain, and if I see here, right, the milliseconds you can see here, 0 milliseconds, right? And you could see the particular um, when I explain the query, right? This is the phases or stages that what it does, right? It has explained that particular thing, and execution time is just 0 milliseconds. So that is the reason it is because of the simplicity, and it is not that complex, and performance wise also it is very fast. And nowadays, you know, right, everywhere it is JSON. Anything, any microservice or any different multiple different application will communicate with each other, everything JSON, right? So okay, this is what we have seen. Let's do one thing. Let's go ahead and explore few more things. Now that we have this method, we can do one thing. Not only name, right? Sometimes we can find, let's say, with multiple. Let's say now what I have to do, I need to search by name. Okay, so this was returning only one record, but I think we have with Manikonda, I think we have multiple records. So let's see it is able to return or not. Right, let's just verify that as well. Okay, if you see all the records with Manikonda, it was able to return. That's great. Now, what we have to do? So, address type is basically residential, let's say, or neighborhood here, or village. So for Manikonda, right, why we are getting three different records? If you see, one is address type suburb, another is village, another is neighborhood. So let's do one thing. I want to search by location name and address type, okay, or type. So we can do that as well. This type we can take. Address type and type is almost same, right, everywhere. So it is same only. So we can use that type. So let's go ahead and do that. What I would say, I think list of location, and I want to find by name and type. And here you need to specify name as well as type. Okay, that's all you have to do. You need to make sure, see, find by name and type. Again, go ahead to basically go ahead and check your domain model. Here it is type type. The same thing it should be in your repository. Name and type. T should be in capital, N should be in capital, and should also A should also. So camel convention, right? Okay, then I think we need to go to our service class. Directly we can call it from controller as well, but always practice we should follow like from service we should call the data access layer, right? Find by name and type. So here we can say find by location name, right? Because this we can give any name. It doesn't matter because this is service class. It is string name, string type, right? So here name of the method doesn't matter. Only thing is in our Mongo repository there it matters, okay? So don't get confused with that. So find by name and type, okay? Now we need to go to controller. Again, we can have another one where we'll say query location name, then we can say location type, right? And similarly, there should be one more path variable over here. Before that, find by location name and type, okay? Similarly, at the rate path variable, value should be location type because these two should match, okay? And then you need to specify string location type, location name and type. This method also we need to call the respective method, right? This is location type. All right, so now we have another method find by location name and type and query then location name slash location type. Okay, let's restart our application. I hope I saved it. Let's see, if not it will fail. Will not be able to see. So Manikunda slash, now you are seeing here, right, 3 records we received for Manikunda, but each of them the type is different: neighborhood, village and suburb. So let me do one thing. Let's search for type as suburb over here. Here you go. So if you see only one record it was able to fetch, right? Similarly, let's try village. If you see here, we got the respective record, correct? So similarly, I think this is how the query method you can write, and n number of combinations. We have different combinations, right? You go ahead and I'll put this documentation. You go ahead and read this documentation, right? Here you'll get it, what all different types of like find by we have, right? Similarly, defining query method and all these documentations are there. Writing your own custom one and all those things, right? So you can go ahead, if you see find by last name, ignore case, right? And then similarly find by last name and first name, all ignore case. Ascending, descending, all those things we can do. So for everything, these keywords are already there. Find by, exist by, so first limit query. If you see here, right, even we have pageable and all, but I want to have a dedicated video on pageable and sorting. basically paging and sorting repository is there, right? So how do you limit the record? How do you basically you want to fetch a particular, let's say 1 to 10 record, then basically 11 to 20 records, and you want to sort it ascending ways, descending ways, all those things, right? And if you see this limit, find top 3 by last name, right? Query first 10 by last name, everything. You don't need to write those boilerplate codes nowadays. Without that, you can just simply write. So if you see, right, our code, we don't have any boilerplate code over here. Anywhere you go, see how clean it is. You just have your repository, you declare the method, query method. You don't need to even specify any other implementation method for this, or write your own logic to fetch this. The moment you will have n number of code, you need to write test cases for that, or you might need to have sonar, or you see the number of code that you will write, right? There are chances that you might hit with issues, correct? The moment you will have less number of code, in that case, it is clean, and even performance also will be good. We'll talk about performance maybe another video in MongoDB and all. But this is how you should know what are all the keywords already available and MongoDB is providing. The moment you are aware of that, you no need to write any extra codes or boilerplate code. Okay. But I think I showed you the basically the happy path scenario where we uh, did not face any issues here, right, while coding. But I would like to show you, right, so that you might end up facing those issues. So let me do one thing. Let me just make type. Okay, so because find by name and type, right? Let's try whether it will work or not. See, during runtime itself, right? It is not even able to start the server the moment I change it to small t here, right? Because it is called as domain specific language, DSL, and it has its rules. If you see here, it will say it was unsatisfied dependency because it was not able to, if you see reason, no property and type found for type string, right? So that is the reason here you need to follow the camel convention. This is one property, this is name, and this is type, and then t should be in capital. Okay, so you need to make sure of that. And if you see here again in our previous video, the query was right name Manikonda, and then basically type is village. This is the query, right? So automatically based on that, it will form all this query. You see, we're getting the same. And this is what in MongoDB I'm using, right? MongoDB Compass. So if you want to see the query, just enable the debug log. Again, I am showing you here, right? Just enable this core Mongo template debug and MongoDB core query. These two debug mode, you just do it, and then you will realize. You can see all those things, okay? So let me do one thing. I think now I fixed it, right? I should be able to start the server now. Okay. Yeah, it should definitely start, right? Because it was already working. We have already seen that. Okay, so that's all about the query method, right? And I think advanced level of query method also we can discuss. Maybe if I want to cover the geospatial thing or the map functionality of MongoDB, so I'm not getting into more detail of that. So that is the reason I'll put all the links in the description. Just go ahead and read it. So you'll be able to easily understand everything. It is just simple, like query first by this limit, you can do limit, you can, so there are all these keywords, what all suffix we can use and all these things, right? You can see over here, and then you can explore on these query methods, so which we are going to use in my next video. That is the reason I wanted to explain about this query method. And I would suggest, if you are using Spring Data Mongo or GP in your project, but if you are not using query method, then it is kind of it is of no use, right? If you still write your own boilerplate code, query, and all those things, it is of no use. So I would suggest wherever it is a very custom query which you are not able to achieve through query methods, then we need to go with our own custom query, which we are going to discuss in our next video. Okay. I hope you guys might have liked this video. So if you liked it, please do press like button and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, why I'm saying this, because I believe in sharing my knowledge, and it will give me motivation that people are watching this, and I can come up with more videos like this, right? So I hope you guys liked this video, and I think if you liked it, please do subscribe. Okay, thanks for watching. That's all for today's video. Thank you.